Uh-oh. Thank you. I thought I turned off. Boy, I really appreciate that, Steve. Okay, rewinding back to where we were talking about. This is the martial power system. We're going to do two things today. We're going to work on magic items for martial powers, and in the later half, we're going to build a new mecha for. We're going to build a mecha for a new player that we have in our Mecha Kaiju campaign on Saturdays. So I'm going to spend about an hour of time here working on powers, and then we're going to switch gears and we're going to build a mecha. Martial powers is a system that allows all martial characters, barbarians, fighters, rogues, and monks to have a half-casting progression system similar to the Artificer, Ranger, and Paladin. And so it uses the short rest mana system, like the monk already has. On a short rest, you get an amount of mana equal to your character. On a long rest, you get it back as well. Power dice are like superiority dice, martial arts dice, inspiration dice, and that when you have like either modify your damage, you add up all your power dice, like basically one power die per mana, and you throw your mana down, you roll a bunch of dice. If it's damage, you add it all up, and then you add it to your weapon damage, like you would with a smite spell. And if it modifies a d20 test, you roll all those dice and you keep the best results. So like if I throw 3 mana at level 9, I'm going to roll 3d8 and I'll only keep the best result and discard the other 2 dice. If I have a Bardic Inspiration die, a Bless spell d4, and I'm throwing 3d8, of all 5 of those dice, I'm only going to keep the best results. So like if everything rolls a 1, except for the Bless, I got a 3 on that d4, the +3 is going to be added to my ability score check. This allows us to spend mana and have abilities and features that allow us to continue throwing dice at a problem, but it's still going to stay inside that DC 30 bounded accuracy curve. Because if the absolute highest die roll you can add is a D12, and that is the highest you can add to it, so you can get a 12, and you can have like say a +5 from your stat, so that's 17, and say you could have expertise, which is going to be a +12. That would be a +29. So it's still possible if you rolled a natural 20 and you hit a natural 12, you could still have a result of 59. That's still only a 50% success rate if you have a DC of 30. There's 5 tiers of difficulty, 1 through 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So, and these scale up with your characters. Like at level 17, when it's possible for you to roll that 49, the type of die rolls you should be expecting are 25 to 30. So you still only have, even at 17th level with a DC 30, and it's possible for you to roll a 49, it's still only about a 50% chance. It's less, it's like a 40% chance of success. So even then, with all of that power behind you, the bounded accuracy curve still is just a little bit better than a 50-50 chance of succeeding top-ranked stuff. And of course, you have like a 75% chance of succeeding a DC 25 check at level 17 if you're completely tricked out with expertise and rolling a natural 20 and a natural 12 with all those modifiers involved. So it's still a really good bounded accuracy system, allowing you to stack up dice to get a 75 that completely blows out the power curve and makes the bounded accuracy system of the D20 game engine in 5e kind of irrelevant. So this allows us to keep that in place. And then we have your character. So that's what the power dice do. And so our characters have this half-casting progression. This gives us about 180 different powers that your martial characters can choose, kind of like how wizards have like 250 spells that they can choose from, right? It's not so much, spellcasters can do things out of combat that just change reality, period. In combat, they can do some good stuff, but it's the utility and it's the breadth of options that they have that make them so quadratically more powerful than the martial characters, because martial's only selection options are basically class, subclass, and feats, and then weapon choice, right? That's not a lot of variety in their world compared to a wizard that can kit out 20 different spells and completely change what their game engine is and how their win conditions are inside of the team composition. having martial powers with about 180 different powers to select from as well gives our martial characters the same breadth of options and the ability to manipulate our action economy and the win conditions we have as martial characters to assist our allies, whether as protector defenders or skirmishers or frontline tanks or CC control or mobilities, or just out of, like, your combat's fine, but you're going to use all your powers for things out of combat, like mobility, senses, telepathy, telekinesis, as well as every single skill focus being able to be boosted, and tools, and you being able to ramp up your effects like that. So there's a ton of variety that allow you to customize your character in various ways using the system. So, which is all good, but we're here to talk about magic items. So what we've done is we've taken all of these different powers, which include exploits, which modify die rolls and action economy. There's maneuvers, which are basically bonus action and or magic action, like spell-like ability effects. There's reactions, like something happens and then you respond to it. And then there's strike powers, which is like a wide selection of smite spells that just martials in general can use, including the paladin. And then there's sustain powers, which are auras that you basically can tap and turn on. So like a 17th level character that using this half casting progression can have up to 5 mana worth of sustain powers active at the same time by tapping down up to 5 mana. 17th level, 5th level spells, maximum amount of 5 mana. You can tap 5 mana to trigger various sustained power effects, and each of those, they stack. So I could have, like, say, all these, like for example, Cliff Runner is a 1 mana ability. You gain a climb speed equal to your move speed, and you don't need to use your hands while doing so. That's basically a monk ability, right? But with this, I spend and I basically tap 1 mana, and that turns on, it stays on until I'm incapacitated, hit with Dispel Magic, or turn it off myself. And I can't recover that tap mana while I'm sustaining that power until I drop the power. I can then regain the mana. But like I can go through a short rest and get all my mana back except for 1 because I'm sustaining Cliff Runner. But I could also, like if I'm a 5th level character, I could also sustain Crouching Stance as well. So not only can I run along cliffs and not use my hands to climb, but I can also, while sustaining Crouching Stance, I can crawl and stand from prone without requiring additional movement if my speed has been reduced to 0. Attack rolls made against me while I'm prone by creatures within 5 feet don't have advantage. Attack rolls that I make while I'm prone don't have disadvantage, and I have advantage on dexterity stealth checks while I'm prone. So basically I can move and attack like usual, but everyone else still gets the penalties against trying to attack me while I'm prone. So that's like a first rank power that's worth tapping and activating as an option. But there's also like for example, Rogue Stance, which is this power is sustained. You can use a bonus action to dash, disengage, or hide, just like cunning actions are at level 9 when I can sustain 3 ranks of power. I could have Rogue Stance, Crouching Stance, and Cliff Runner all active at the same time because it only costs 1 mana each. But then we get like in the second rank stuff, for example, Celerity, for example, is 3rd rank. So at level 9, I could have Celerity active or all 3 of those first rank auras active at the same time. Like Celerity is basically a stun-free version of haste. It just does all the things that haste does, except there's no stun effect. So these are powers that we gain up in levels, and they take more and more mana to channel as you gain levels. So what we've done is we've taken all of these different power ideas, and we've come up with the concept of power gear, which are magic items that utilize powers. So the system is on a rank of 1 to 5. We have common, uncommon, rare, very rare, and legendary magic items. And there's a point value now that we associate. This doesn't work for spell casting yet. It doesn't work for full casters, like up to level 9 spells. I'm still figuring that out. But for level 5, like half casting progression up to level 5 by level 17, this system works incredibly well, and it works excellent with the martial power system that we've developed. So a common item can have up to 2 points, and depending on how many points it takes to build that magic item, that is going to determine the gold piece value of that magic item. So I'm going to punch this over a little bit more here like that. There we go. So a common magic item can have up to 2 points. 1 point is worth 50 gold. 2 points is worth 100 gold. And again, the DMG lists a common magic item to have up to 100 gold in value. Uncommon up to 400 gold in value. Rare up to 4,000 gold in value. Very rare up to 40,000 gold in value. And a legendary magic item is basically up to 200,000 gold pieces in value. So when we're building these systems, if we know a common magic item is going to have 100 points, and if I have 2 points for 100, so basically it's 50, 100. 3 points is then 250, 400, which is 150, and then 150 equals 400. And then and then this is 1,200 points, and 400 plus 1,200 gold. 400 gold plus 1,200 gold is 1,600 gold, plus 1,200 gold is 2,800 gold, plus 1,200 gold is 4,000 gold. So that's our cap for rare items requiring having 5 to 7 crafting points invested into the item. Very rare has 8 to 10 crafting points, and again has the same structure. You go from 4,000, you add 12,000 gold to 16, 12,000 gold to 28, 12,000 gold to 40, and then a legendary magic item is 11 or more points. It's basically 80,000 gold. It's a 40,000 plus an extra, basically 40,000 gold past 10 for legendary. So if we want to get to 200,000, it would be what? It'd be 80, 120, 160, 200,000. So that would be 12 points, 13 points, 14 points. So basically, legendary is essentially 11 to 14 points, but there's technically no cap, because you can just keep adding on effects if you want your item to be more and more legendary. There's technically nothing wrong with that. But at some point, you start bumping into artificer territory. So I haven't seen what the top point value for magic, for like legendary items are. So we're going to spend a little time basically right now going through the DMG looking for armor, weapons, and basically other armament magic items to see if we can use the martial power system and this point system to fold them together. So when we're looking at spending points on items, we're going to spend anywhere from 1 to 8 points per ability. So basic damage types, and again, if we go to the martial power system, the basic damage types are first rank. You can get acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, as well as bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. And then second rank powers, level 5, it's force, necrotic, psychic, radiant, and thunder damage. So by level 5, you can basically make, this is like the type of damage your weapon automatically deals. At level 1, you could automatically have your weapon deal fire damage instead of, like, say, piercing damage. So in the system, in the scaling system, let's pull this one out so we can flip back and forth here. Basic damage types are worth 1 point. And advanced damage types, second rank, advanced damage are worth 2 points. So like I could have a sword that deals necrotic damage, and that's worth 2 points. So that sword would only do, like it's a normal long sword, but it does like say psychic damage instead of slashing damage. If I wanted to make it a +1 weapon, a +1 enchantment costs 2 mana. So that's going to be a +1 enchantment, and it's going to have, like, say, the fire damage type. That's going to be 4 points total. That, therefore, makes this an uncommon magic item because that's 4 points total. Just a +1 sword with this system is 2 points. So a long sword +1, nothing else. That's a common magic item that's worth 100 points. That would also be the same for armor. I know that in the Dungeon Master's Guide, armor starts at rare magic items. And the reason I think they do that is because when you roll on random loot, you could end up with a full plate armor. So it'd be like full plate +1. But full plate armor costs 1,600 gold, which puts it beyond uncommon into rare, despite only being +1 armor, and +1 armor being something reasonable for a first or second level character to have. And the reason they list as you get 1 rare magic item at level 2 is because armor is automatically going to be a rare a rarity of rare or higher because of the variable costs of armor. If you separate the enchantment from the armor, you could have 15 gold piece leather armor and then put a common enchantment onto it, like leather armor +1, and that becomes reasonable for you to have as a common magic item. But like if you wanted to have, so basically like if you wanted to give your characters full plate armor, that unto itself is a rare level magic item because it's more than 400 gold unto itself before you even added that value. So when you're looking at what's the, like, is it appropriate for me to give characters this equipment or not, think about what kind of gold should they have access to at different levels. And like, yeah, by level 5, it's reasonable that they could have full plate armor despite it being more than 400 gold. You could go ahead and do that. But giving a first or second level character full plate armor that's even like +1, that is outrageously valuable for them because that's basically armor class of like 19 plus shield 21. That's really good for a level 2 character or a level 3 character, hell, even a level 4 character. So you have to think about that sort of context. So like when we're designing magic armor +1, I'm declaring that the enchantment is only a common magic, which means like you'd only have to, like if you're crafting stuff with die rolls, you would only have to basically roll a DC 10 to be able to successfully craft +1 armor or a +1 sword, because the +1 enchantment bonus is only 2 points sitting inside the common. We also have, so here's basically our full list of stuff. Like for example, if I want to, like we were looking at celerity, a level 3 power. That would be, which basically simulates the haste ability. So a level 3 power costs 4 points. So to simply give you celerity as an ability, but not have it work for you unless you pay for it yourself, is worth 4 points all by itself. So just having, like, say, a power stone that has the celerity power in it, that you have to give it mana to turn on, that's a relatively cheap magic item. It's Power Stones are from 3rd edition. They were psionic magic items that were basically like scrolls that didn't get destroyed whenever you used them. The Power Stones were permanent items, but you had to pay for the mana itself. Now, we also have the ability to have, like, say, the level 3 power celerity, which is, again, the martial powers version of haste. That's 4 points by itself. But to generate 3 points of mana automatically to pay for celerity, that's going to cost an extra 6 points. So that's now a 10-point ability to have like a belt of celerity or like boots of celerity. When you have those on, the basically haste becomes permanent for you. That's worth 10 points. 10 points is a very rare magic item worth 40,000 gold. You see that difference there? It's probably really like, there's Boots of Speed. What do Boots of Speed do? Honestly, D&D Beyond, I don't remember. Is Boots of Speed haste or is it just faster movement? Let's do an acid test here real quick, shan't we? While you wear these boots, you can take a bonus action to click the boot heels together. If you do, your boots double your speed, and any creature that makes an opportunity attack against you has disadvantage on the attack roll. If you click your heels together again, the effect ends. When you use these boots properly, when you've used the boots property for a total of 10 minutes, the magic ceases to function for you until you finish a long rest, and that is a rare magic item. So what would happen for us to basically double bonus action? You can double your speed. Let's see. Let's go to our list of powers, and if we want to double our speed, we can go to Speedy. Is it fast? While sustaining this power, all your move speed increases by your max rank of power multiplied by 5. So that's a first rank power. That's sustained. We could do that, but it wouldn't click in to double your move basically until you're level 17. So that's a little slow. We don't have a power that directly doubles your speed, but we do have celerity, and one aspect of celerity, again, third rank power, but does multiple things. Celerity, it does 4 things. Doubles your move speed. There we go, right away. Armor class, advantage on a dexterity saves from a source you can see. And you gain an additional bonus action, dash, dodge, disengage. So we could probably realistically have this set up like as a 1 mana ability for your movement speed doubles. So we would put that down for 1 mana, which would be a +2 ability effect. Level 1 power. Yeah, basically that's worth level 1 power. That'd be 2 mana. And then we have 2 temporary mana is 4. That'd be 6 mana. 6 mana equals rare. The boots are rare. We have 1 point left over. It'd probably be fair for us just to squeeze out an extra point to say, while you have it active, your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Like, that's probably a fair, decent way to do that. It's roughly in alignment. There you go. So that would be good. I would say that's roughly the equivalent. We're kind of looking at, but this magic item wouldn't have a limit. So like it would literally just be forever. This one only works for 10 minutes. So we could potentially make that like that. Doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Do we have a power that specifically allows you to move and not provoke opportunity attacks? Good question. Let's go to exploits. Probably not unto itself. Your flight speed. Hold on, I'm looking for something. There we go. For a kicker for 1 mana, your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks during this turn. So we have 1 mana effects that are already in effect. That's for overrun, which lets you basically trample people. But yeah, for 1 point kicker, your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. So that would effectively be 2nd rank. Let's go back to our magic items. So if we're looking at 2nd level, that's effectively 2 levels of power, right? So that'd be 3. And we would need 3 mana to make that perpetual. So that would be 9 points, which is over the limit for rare, but it only works for 10 minutes. So it could be like, say, 24 hours, 2 hours, 10 minutes. That could be a scaling. Like 24 hours basically means it's just sustained for however long you can sustain it. It's basically perpetual. So in Spelljammer, we scale things down from like how much movement can you make for 24 hours, how much and then like it's 100 million miles. In 2 hours, you can basically do 10 million miles. In 10 minutes, you can basically do, what is it? It goes from 1 million miles. Thank you. And then 100 to 10 million at 2 hours, and then 1 million at 10 minutes, and then 100,000 in 1 minute, 10,000 in 1 round, and then each round is broken into 10 squares, 1,000-mile squares. So basically, using that same scaling logic, we could have something that lasts 24 hours, being full value, being 2 hours per day, dropping the value by 1 point, being 10 minutes. So what was that? That was 9 points. Yeah, 9 points. Drop it down to 7. So so duration. We can do that. Let's look in here because we're still building stuff and we're finding solutions. So duration. Let's see. Perpetual equals nomad. 2 hours per day equals -1 point. We'll go 10 minutes per day equals -2 points. 1 minute per day equals -3 points. 1 round per day, 1 use equals -4 points. So that's currently the scale that we're going to be playing with. So when we come down here and we look at examples, we've already done Flame Tongue and Vicious Weapon, but let's add Boots of Speed. That's going to be 3 points equals level 2 power. Double your move speed. And don't provoke opportunity attacks. And we're going to have... that was going to be 2, right? Yeah, it's worth 3 points. And then, oh yeah, we only need 2 points for that. So that's 6. Huh. Doubling your speed. No opportunity attacks. Double our speed. Let's go with Boots of Speed equals 3. Level 2 power, double your move speed, and don't provoke opportunity attacks. And then we have what was that, 4 mana? 2 temporary mana equals 4. 2 temp mana to pay for power. And then minus minus 2 points, minus 2. Come on, Narf. Minus 2 equals 10 minutes only. That's 7. That's 5 points. Hey, look at that. 5 points. Rare. That actually works. Rare. 5 points. So Boots of Speed works. Again, let's look at Flame Tongue. So Flame Tongue is here. Let's actually go looking. Since we have Flame Tongue and Vicious Weapons already, those are probably the best ones to look at. So let's look at Flame Tongue. Okay, so this is a rare magic item. While holding this magic weapon, you can take a bonus action and use a command word to cause flames to engulf the damage-dealing part of the weapon. These flames shed bright light in a 40-foot and then 10 feet, another 40 feet. That's basically the light cantrip that you can activate as a bonus ability. So for 1 mana, that is a cantrip-like effect, 1 mana. That doesn't deal damage. Like Ray of Frost wouldn't be 1 point because that scales with damage over your levels. But a non-damaging cantrip spell like Spare the Dying, Elementalism, Prestidigitation, and this like Dancing Lights or the Light spell, those would count as just 1 point that you add to the cost of your item. And then these flames shed bright lights. While the weapon is ablaze, it deals an extra 2d6 fire damage on a hit. The flames last until you take a bonus action to issue the command again, or until you drop, stow, or sheathe the weapon. So this is going to do 2d6 extra fire damage on a hit. And if we remember our power dice at the beginning of this conversation, at level 1, your character gets a d6 power die. At level 5. You can have up to 2 mana worth of power dice adding damage, and now all we needed, so that's the 2d6 damage that we have here as a second rank power, as channeling at second rank. Now we need a power that deals fire damage when you hit with the sword. So let's go down to strike equals Flaming Strike. Your weapon can deal fire damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. The creature is caught on fire, taking fire damage equal to the result of the highest power die rolled at the end of each of its turns until the fire is put out. The target or another creature can put the fire out by expending an action to do so on the target, or the target can make a dexterity saving throw at the end of each of its turns, putting out the fire before taking damage again. And then if I wanted to, I could expend an extra mana and then deal that fire damage to all creatures within 5 feet per mana that I add to the kicker effect. So it's actually mana kicker plus 1 plus. All targets you choose within a 5-foot emanation per mana kick take the damage as well, but do not catch fire. So if I put in 2 mana, I can deal 2d6 damage, extra damage to everybody around that target within a 10-foot area, but none of them are going to catch fire. But the guy that was the focus of the hit does catch fire. So we can take Flaming Strike as a second-rank power. Sorry, it's a first-rank power, right? So we put 2 mana into it because that's the value of a first-rank power because Flaming Strike, first level. So that was power... temporary mana, level 1 power, 2 points. And then we want to give it 2 points of free mana so it can do the 2d6 damage all the time whenever you hit with it. So 2 temporary mana is going to be worth 4 points. So 4 plus 6 is 2. Now 4 plus 2 is 6, plus the 1 extra point is 7. So, sorry, this should be here at 4. So 4, 6, that's 7 points. And look at that. Rare magic item, 7 points. Here's the fun thing. Okay, so here's the problem. Again, a problem we have with magic items and, like, say, a paladin spending spell slots to deal a Divine Smite spell. Like, say my paladin puts in a 5th level spell, uses Divine Smite, deals 68 plus, he's at least level 11 at that point, so he's going to put 78 damage in because he automatically does D8, plus he gets 6d8 for a 5th level spell slot. And then if he's holding the Flaming Sword, it's going to be another 2d6. So again, we're blowing by adding martial powers into the equation, like fighters being able to do this, rangers, barbarians, monks, everyone being able to do this. Giving them a flaming weapon like this is going to, again, blow the damage curve out of proportion to what characters should naturally be able to do. In the martial power system, you can put in mana, and that's going to be equal an extra die. When you get temporary mana, it's not just on top of everything else that you do. You still have a mana limit. So if your character's mana limit would normally, like at 5th level, if the mana limit is 2, you can't put in more than 2 mana into an ability. So like your Flaming Strike at level 5 is capped at 2d6. At level 9, when you get a bigger power die, now a d8, as well as up to 3 mana, you can now do 3d8 damage with Flaming Strike. If your 5th level character is using Flaming Strike, all good. The Flaming Sword is basically doing what exactly you would expect it to do. But if you give the Flaming Sword, or the Flame Blades, the Flame Tongue Sword, thank you, the Flame Tongue Sword, if you give that to this is going to be what, worth 7 points equals rare. Thank you. If we give that to a 9th level character, it's going to give us 2 points of mana for free, but now you're going to use your power die, which is a d8. So the Flame Tongue, instead of doing 2d6 damage for every character, is going to, in the hands of a 9th level channeler, is now going to do 2d8 damage, but the channeler could spend up to 3 mana, and the sword gives you 2 for free. So if I wanted to, when I use my Flame Tongue to do a Flaming Strike as a 9th level character, I could, if I wanted to, spend a point of my own mana, and now that Flame Tongue is going to do 3d8 damage instead of 2d8 damage. And at level 17, using a Flame Tongue is automatically going to do 2d10 damage because it gave me 2 points of mana for free, and my power die at 17th level is a d10, but I could put up to 5 mana into a Flaming Strike. The Flame Tongue paid for 2. Out of my own pocket, I could pay for 3 to do 5d10 damage with that sword. Or I could just let the sword do 2d10 damage for me all the time. If I were to give this sword to a first level character, you shouldn't, but if you did, it would still do 2d6 damage because it's already paying for up to 2 ranks of power that your character doesn't have to invest into, so you don't have to worry about it. If your power level is above 5, so like at level 9, 13, 17, again, you can put more mana into what the weapon gives you, but like you could have like a legendary Flame Tongue that gives you 5 mana for free, dealing 5d, whatever your die roll is. At 17th level would be 5d10, or at first level would be 5d6, and it will always do that extra damage. But it's also going to be, well, what would the cast of that be? It's going to be level 1 power is 2 points, and we only go up to 3, 4, we could do up to 5 temporary mana for 10 points. So this would be 12 points, first level power, 5 free mana, and then we have, I think I want to space this out a little bit better than that. There. Nope, that was, anyway. Stop belaboring the issue, Kearney. Yeah, so 2 points, 12 points, and then we have the turn on light effect. That's 13 points. That is within the curve of a legendary magic item. It's 13 points. It would be worth 160,000 gold to do that. Now you have a flaming sword that always deals 5 dice worth of damage. Here's the fun part. If you are a full caster, like all the martial characters and the half casters and Warlock get access to channeling powers with this system. The cleric, druid, the bard, cleric, druid, sorcerer, and wizard scion, those 6 full casters do not gain channeling unless they multi-class. So when they pick up a flaming sword, their power die is a d4. Because they don't actually channel they don't actually channel power, they get the worst result possible, which is going to be a d4. That flame tongue sword is still going to do 2 dice worth of extra damage, but in the hands of a 17th level sorcerer, it's only going to be plus 2d4 damage. So there you go. But it still could catch somebody on fire, and it can still. But there's no. But you'd have to pay for the kicker separately because it's not paying for the kicker. If you want to use the kicker, you have to do that out of your own pocket. This isn't paying for the kicker. So while attuned, when you use the flaming strike power, you generate 2 points of temporary mana to channel the strike. You can expend additional mana to increase the number of power dice rolled up to your max channel limit. So there you go. So that's 7 points. That's rare. That actually fits within the power curve yet again. So rare. That item works. We're going through this process to see where the flaws and exceptions to the rules are, so we can see if we can still make those exceptions work with the math, like we did, like we just figured out durations, right? Perpetual, 2 hours, 10 minutes, 1 minute, 1 round. You have those 4 degrees. So if it lasts 1 round or only works once a day, that drops the cost by 4, which would make it a lot easier to use. So Flame Tongue works. We've also previously done Vicious Weapon. So let's go look at the Vicious Weapon property, because that one's going to end up working out as well. Vicious Weapon. Vicious Weapon. This magic item deals an extra 2d6 damage to any creature it hits. The extra damage is of the same type as the weapon's normal damage. That's a rare magic item. It's 2 just generic damage, right? So that's going to tell us that's going to be a Martial Strike. Martial Strike, almost all of these do different types of damage, but Martial Strike just simply does a power die of damage, but you can also use a combat mastery at the same time. So Martial Strike, it increases the die size. So instead of doing 2d6, it automatically does 2d8. But it has essentially the exact same costs -1 that the Flame Blade does. So, or Flame Tongue. Flame Tongue had this kicker effect for 1 point, but the Vicious Weapon doesn't have that. It has 2 for Martial Strike, the Martial Strike power, And then you get 2 dice of Martial Strike for free, which is worth 4. So 2 and 4. Rare equals is worth 6 points. And we already know that rare is 6 points. So Vicious Weapon also fits within that power curve. So let's go to, let's do weapons, armaments. So we're going to go with armaments, because armaments is a category of magic gear now in D&D, and I believe Boots of Speed is counted as armaments. Let's actually check that. Let's see if GPT knows. Let's see. D&D 5.5e is Boots of Speed on the armament magic item table. Yes, Boots of Speed is located on the armaments magic armament table, and here is magic item categories. Where's my loot list? Awarding magic items. That's probably where we're going to pull from. Come on, show me the love. Here's your magic item values, right? Cost is 50 gold to make, 100 gold, 200 gold to make, 400 gold, 4,000 gold, 40,000 gold, 200,000 gold there. Special features. Artifacts. It's probably actually in the treasure list, not the magic item list. Treasure themes. Armaments. There we go. Where's my Boots of Speed, bitch? ChatGPT lies. You can't trust it. You can't trust the machine. Why you lie? There we are. Implements. Thank you. Implements, not armaments. And it says implements. What are you going to say for yourself, huh? You don't know. You do know. If you could find the answer after I told you the answer, why couldn't you find it correctly the first time? This is why you don't use chat AI to do all your coding. You can ask it to point in a direction, and like maybe it'll get the answer right, but then you go and you check it yourself to see it's true. I can use AI to point us to where we want to go, but then I have to prove it to make sure it's accurate. It can lead me in the right direction to save me some time, but I can't use it to actually build anything because it's gonna lie to me. Because boots are worn gear, my internal logic jumped to the armaments category, which is dedicated to physical combat gear. However, there you go. Okay, so implements and armaments. So we're going to want to go through and dumb machine. Examples: weapons, armor, armaments, implements. There, we'll do that for now. So for now, we'll go with weapons. Armor, which now we have none. Armaments and let's just do them alphabetically, fuck it. My goal is to do all of them in the DMG and see how many of them we can get right. I'm sure occasionally we're gonna get something like something won't match. I'm sure of it. But I want to see how often it's accurate, and how much work how much mental gymnastics do we need to do to make it work, and is it just simply a matter of like we may find that like we need a different point value for like sustained powers. So maybe we do, maybe we don't. So let's go to ye old magic item list. What time is it? It's 7:48. Okay, I only got about 12 minutes left to work on magic items right now, because I made a promise to work on mecha tonight. So we're gonna take magic items, and then we're gonna honor our promise. But right now we're going to start in on magic items, or weapons. So let's go to source DMG. Filter magic items. Armor. Very good. So how much armor do we get? Adamantine, animated shield. Okay, not a lot. So let's see how much of this shit jives. Now, adamantine is made out of a material. And the special property of the material is, while you're wearing it, any critical hit against you becomes a normal hit. That's technically not magical. It doesn't require attunement. You just put it on. It's not a magic item, really. It's just a fantastical material. So I don't feel like I need to comply to any rules, because that's a material. Like adamantine armor can be made out of, anything can be made. Like, I could have adamantine armor +1. It'll get rid of crits and it'll give me the +1 bonus. I don't think that counts. So I'm going to just gingerly step over that. What is that exclamation point about? I don't know. While holding the shield, you can take a bonus action to cause it to animate. The shield leaps into the air and hovers in your space to protect you as if you were wielding it, leaving your hands free. The shield remains animate for 1 minute until you take the bonus action to end the effect or until you die or have the incapacitated condition, at which point the shield falls to the ground or into your hand if you have one free. Shield requires to utilize action to don or doff. You gain the armor class benefit of a shield only if you have trained with it. Now, it's not a magical shield. It doesn't give you a +1 bonus. It just floats for you. So let's go. I know we have a floating shield ability because I love those things. So let's go to Power Shield. Armor, very rare. Power Shield. You create a defensive shield of power that can be wielded as a shield that you are proficient with. This shield hovers in your space to protect you, leaving your hands free. You gain a +3 bonus to your armor class. You can benefit from only one shield at a time. So for 1 mana, we get Power Shield. Let's go back to our list. This is going to end up being undervalued, like compared to the magic items in the table. But I'm okay with that. Let's go up here. Level 1 power is worth 2. 1 mana to fuel it is also worth 2. That's a total of 4. They make it only last for 1 minute and then it drops. I'm just going to let it be perpetual, just like it's already built. So we're just going to go with power armor. So we're going to go with 4 points. Yeah, it's going to be less. It's going to be a lower tier. But then so is the armor. The armor is also common as a +1. So I actually think that's kind of appropriate. I'm doing mental gymnastics right now to justify. 1 mana for 2. First level power for 2. Total of 4 equals uncommon magic item as opposed to very rare. So let's go down here and let's go to armor equals animated shield. It's going to be 2 equals first rank power equals power shield, and then 4 points equals 1 temporary mana to maintain the sustained power. Hold on, I'm thinking. What if it went the other way? What if sustained powers became more expensive the longer they were sustained? So like, it would last 1 round for 4 points. For base cost would be 0. For 1 minute, and then it deactivates and you have to turn it on again, that would be 1 point. So that takes us to 5, which now becomes a rare magic item. So what about Boots' speed? No, it doesn't work. Okay, yeah, we're just gonna accept that it's a lower value. So Boots of Speed, Animated Shield, Sustained, and we're just going to call that Uncommon. 4 points. There, up to 24 hours. Meh. We found a flaw. It's not perfect. Now, Is it not perfect because animated shield shouldn't be very rare? Or is it imperfect because because we didn't have enough points to make it very rare? I honestly think that animated shields should be a lot more common than they are. So let's move on from there. Armor of Gleaming. Never gets dirty. Okay. That's a cantrip effect. The prestidigitation spell, right? So let's go to here. Armor of Gleaming. 1 equals cantrip effect, prestidigitation. There. Pretty simple. Okay, you can stack these things up to have multiple items with attunement. Like I could have an animated shield of gleaming. It would be worth 5 points, which would make it rare because it cleans itself and it floats and blah. It's like you can stack these effects if you wanted to, if you're willing to pay the extra costs to get them built together. We'll see that. We'll see that implemented more when we start playing. When we start building. Have plans for various powers that you can then stack on. Like you could have the mana stack. You could have power stack, you could have feats, damage types, cantrip effects. These are all things that you could have pieces of formula that you can call like a second level artificer has 4 plans, and at second level you can build power armor up to common rarity. So you as a artificer, you could build a common magic item like gleaming armor. I'd have to have 1 plan for cantrip to build a gleaming armor with. For an animated shield, which is uncommon, I wouldn't be able to do this until I'm level 6 as an artificer. But once I am, I could have 1 plan for power shield, and then I could have another plan for providing temporary mana. And as each individual plan, like each individual power, is its own plan. And then it would be a plan for adding temporary mana. Yeah, I think that's basically how it works. Let's check out another item. We got time for another item, and then I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to start playing with building a mecha for our new player. So let's go to the Armor of Invulnerability. You have resistance to BPS while wearing the armor, and then Metal Shell. You can take a magic item, magic action to give yourself immunity to BPS for 10 minutes, or until you're no longer wearing the item. Once it's properly used, it can't be used again until the next dawn. Plate consists of shapes, interlocking blah, 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 blah. Okay. Let's see, immunity, and then you get immunity to BPS. So, okay, so let's look at adaptive armor, or adaptive resistance. That would probably be the first place to go. Let's go to sustained power. Here we go. Adaptive resistance. For 2 mana, we can have resistance to BPS as well as poison. So let's go to Armor of Invulnerability. Let's drop down to here. Armor of Invulnerability. They want it to be legendary, and I bet we're going to get there. Okay, so let's do this. We go 2 equals adaptive resistance, natural weapons, BPS plus poison. Sustained. And then we have the magic item can give us. It always gives you resistance, but you can use a magic action to give yourself immunity to BPS for 10 minutes or until you no longer are wearing the armor. So let's go down to indestructible. Indestructible is a 4th rank sustained power. And while sustaining this power, you gain resistance to all damage and attacks can't score critical hits. In addition, as a reaction to taking damage, you can dismiss this power. If you do, until the end of your next turn, you are immune to the triggering damage type. And that's just a reaction, and you have to, in addition, as a reaction, you can dismiss the power. So that ends the indestructible resistance to all damage, but as a reaction, dismissing the 4 mana. So you're going to have to spend the 4 mana to get it back. And then for the next round, you're immune to the triggering type. And that would be only one type of damage. So we're looking at BPS. So how can we compromise on this? What mental gymnastics can I perform to make this work? So it's 4th rank. As the indestructible is a 4th rank reaction that we're expending. So that would be worth 8 points for 4 mana to basically trigger the effect. I don't want to be here. Cancel. And then we were just playing with the idea of durations. So if it's supposed to last 1 round normally, and we want it to last, how long does it last? 10 minutes. And you can't use it again until the next dawn. So you get basically 10 minutes of it, and that's it. So for 10 minutes, that would be 0 points, 1 point, 2 points. So it'll cost us 2 points extra to get that 10 minutes worth of indestructibility. So that's going to be 2 points extra. So that means we're going to look at +2. We've got the 2nd rank power. Level 2 power is worth 3 points. That's worth 3 points. Equals adaptive resistance, natural BPS, poison, blah, blah, blah. And then it's going to take 2 points of temporary mana to basically turn on and leave that on forever. So that's worth 4 points. Perpetual resistance. And then we're going to have 8 points equals indestructible to BPS 1 round. And then 2 equals increase duration to 10 minutes. So that's going to be 10, that's 17 points. That's going to be more than the legendary action would normally be, but it's still doable. And since it's 17, it would be 320 points. But it's still legendary. Is there a way we can bring that down to 14 points? Is there a different way we could do this to get it down to 14 points so that it's within the 200,000 gold piece curve like usual? No. but I think I'm okay with that. Okay, we're gonna leave that at 17 points, so that's fine. It's not perfect, but we're trying to see how closely this can line up. Again, we're stress testing this to see if it's good or not, and to an extent, it is. Hold on, I gotta fix my screen here because a bot showed up. Bye-bye. Thank you. Boop. Take that, bring it back down. Hey, folks, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for checking out the channel. So yeah, the point value, it's not perfect, but it seems like where it's important is actually hitting the marks. And again, we're having to kind of go through some mental gymnastics here and bend the system. And all this stuff, this document that I'm working is linked down below in the description. It's available for you guys to check out right now if you're interested. So let's do one more item because these things are fun. And then we're going to switch over and we're going to work on mecha. So Armor of Resistance. Hold on, maybe I can do this differently. Let's go to, yeah, let's do that. Let's go to, it's a 4th rank power, so it's going to be 4. So Indestructible is a 4th rank power. 4th rank powers are 6 points, but we're only getting BPS. We're not getting any of the other 10 effects that would work with this. So I'd say that's probably half cost. So we'll make that 3 points. Again, we're making it up. Invulnerability would be all resistant to all damage type for however long you want to leave it on. So yeah, so let's do that. Hold on. Let's build it. Let's build it out literally the way that it would look. So for what was that? 6 points. Level 4 power is worth 6 points, right? So let's go to 6 points equals Indestructible, sustained. And we're going to reduce the cost. -3 equals only resist BPS. No crit proof. And then we're going to go with 8 points is going to be, 4 temporary mana that we gain to sustain the Indestructible. But it only lasts, and it's for 10 minutes instead of 1 round. Normally, the Indestructibility, when you dismiss the power, you only get it for 1 round. This one, you're going to get it for 10 minutes. So that 2 points there, that's right. So it's going to be 10 points, 16 points minus 3 is 13 points, and 13 points is within the legendary point range. 11 to 14, 13 points. 160,000 gold. Hey, that worked. We just built it a different way, and we dropped some points because we limited what the power would normally be able to do. If we wanted just to simply be indestructible, we could get rid of this and make it worth 16 points beyond the normal scale of legendary, and it would be legendary, it would be indestructible and no crits against us against everything. And then once per day we could turn it off. We could then become immune to BPS. There you go. So we're dropping the point value to stay within curve. Armor of Vulnerability, we were able to prove that it works. Armor of Glamour works, Boost of Speed works, Animated Shield works, equals 4 points. DMG equals very rare. I just don't see us needing to spend 9 points when we can do it in 4. So I brought down the cost of Animated Shield, just like we dropped the cost of Armor +1, for instance. So we're just going to go with Armor +1 which is going to be a common, equals 2 points. And again, we explained at the beginning of this that the only thing that makes rare, like armor rare, is because there's a chance it could be full plate, which is worth 1,600 gold pieces, which is more than 400, less than 4,000, is automatically rare. Even if it was leather armor worth only 15 gold, because the item could be rare, because it could be full plate armor worth more than 400 gold, like it's worth 5 points, that automatically means it's rare. That's why full plate armor is a rare item, because the cost of the +1 enchantment is 2 points, and the full plate armor is what, 1,600. So that would be 5 points plus 2 for the +1. So basically, full plate armor +1 would be worth 7 points because of the cost of making the armor, which has to be folded into the cost, because you can make the magic item even if you don't have an item already to make it from. If you provide the suit of armor, you can then do the enchantment effect on it. But you could also just make the armor from scratch while you're enchanting it. So that's where that value comes from. By removing that material cost, we can just look at the actual enchantment value, and therefore a +1 enchantment is only worth 2. A +2 enchantment is worth 4. A +3 enchantment, the cap, is 6 points. So a +3 sword unto itself would be a rare magic item, while a +2 sword by itself or +2 armor by itself is uncommon. A +1 armor or weapon is 2 points. So we're just going to lay those in here real quick. Armor +1 is worth 2 points. Equals enchantment +1. Four points, uncommon. And then armor +3. It's supposed to be legendary +3, but it really isn't. So says me. I mean, you can fight me over it if you want, but if you do, I invite you to join my Discord server, which is linked down below here in YouTube. Be welcome to jump into my channel and tell me how wrong I am. I don't mind at all. I'm going to leave it in the book as is. And then it would be, yeah, we're going to let that sit. So that's armor, armor, armor. And then we're going to go to weapons. Weapon +3. Like Flame Tongue is not a +1 weapon. It just does extra damage. You could stick a +1 enchantment on top of it. Weapon. Get out of here. Oh, I pressed the D12 button. Get out of here. Weapon. That would take it from, like, Flame Tongue by itself is 7 points. But if I made it like a +1, it would now be 9 points, which takes it to very rare. If I gave it a +2 enchantment, that would take it to legendary, or a +3, which would also be legendary, just a higher cost. So there you go. But you can stack these things up. Adding the point value adds to the cost of the points. And again, anyone that's new to the channel, welcome. I do game design like this for Magic the Gathering and D&D stuff on Mondays and Thursday nights, sometimes Saturday mornings. Monday through Friday, I do the artwork for the books that we're publishing. So this Martial Powers book is currently in production, but this is going to be on the DMsGuild. All of my books are 100% free preview. You can check out a lot of my books in the description down below. You can click on any of them. They all have free previews. Read them cover to cover. Hell, run a campaign from level 1 to 20 with them. I do. And if at that point you don't think it's worth your time, you think it was a waste of a 20 level campaign, don't bother buying it. Lesson learned. Just thanks for checking it out. It's so difficult as third-party, couture designers to get anyone to look at anything that you do. I make all my books 100% free preview just to have the chance for you guys to look at it, so that when I talk about this stuff, you can go to the books and you can read it. So once this publishes, this will be part of the 5-color mana spell point variant rules system, the color magic system that we've been developing and publishing on DMsGuild for the past 7 years. Cheers. All right, so that was all the magic items. I'm going to set this down for now, and on Thursday when we come back, we're going to continue working on these and just basically going through. Well, hold on. How much more armor? How much more magic armor stuff do I really have? That's a cursed item. Forget it. There we go. Rare, very rare, legendary. Right? Yeah. No. This is because of the cost of the magic of the armor, not the enchantment that makes it so expensive. Arrow catching, cast off. Okay, there's still some fun stuff for us to do, but I'm going to leave this on hold for now. We're going to go down to arrow catching shields. So let's go to. I'm pretty sure I have a solution for that already. But we're going to leave that to the Thursday session. So if you guys are interested in that, like, subscribe, bell icon, get notifications. So when I'm live on Thursday night, you'll get a ping, and then you can jump in and take a look at it. But for now, I'm going to place this on hold, and we're going to start building mecha. So I have a new player in our Mecha Kaiju campaign, and I promised that I would work on Mecha Kaiju tonight so that they would, they could see what their mecha would look like, and I want to honor that promise because when I say I'm going to do something, I would like to be the kind of guy that actually follows through on that kind of shit. So let's close this group. That's going to cause our orbital system to pop open. You go down here to we already published Spelljammer subclasses. Here we go, Spelljammer, Kaiju, and Constructs. So let's grab our document here of the Mecha Kaiju campaign. And we got mecha mods. Let's go with our basic mecha. So basic mecha design. Currently our mecha we're 7th level now. So level 1 characters can have 10-foot mecha. Level 5 characters can have 20-foot mecha. Level 9 characters can have 30-foot mecha. 13 is 40-foot mecha, and then 17 is 50-foot mecha. So mecha 20-foot scale, it's ×3 damage multiplier. So like instead of dealing, hold on, let's go down here and see if I can find it. Our scaling damage table. The Mecha Kaiju campaign has mecha running around basically as like fighter craft, like Spelljammer fighter craft that are people shaped instead of shaped like bugs or fish or birds. So let's scroll further down to weapon sizes. Here we go. Oh, that's right. No, we're at 20-foot mecha, which is 3 dice damage. When we get to 30-foot mecha, it'll be 4 times damage. At 50-foot mecha, it'll be 5 times damage. And then 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, 10 times damage when you scale up to 100 feet, 200 feet. The diminishing returns, as one would expect. So, and then the extra hit points that you get for your machine. Basically, the way that Spelljammer in general works with this system, and we're using the that is my ttrpg. Let's reload. This is the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document that I've published. It's 105 pages of Spelljammer badassedness. It's linked down below. You can look at, again, the entire free preview if you want. Purchase isn't necessary, but certainly appreciated. God bless you if you care. But all this artwork is mine. All this game design is me. So here's Fightercraft, and you can see like a spiderling Fightercraft. It's basically shaped like a spider. It's 40 feet in size. When using this system, when you take the helm, you either use an action or a bonus action to focus on the helm, which allows you to immediately attune to it so you can pilot the ship. You do not need to be a spellcaster. A barbarian, while raging, can pilot a ship. While you are at the helm and focusing on it, you are essentially wild shaping into the ship. Your senses project throughout and outside of the ship as though you can see, as though the spiderling becomes you, and you can now see from the spiderling's perspective all around you. And you can move the ship as though it were your own body. So while you're sitting in the chair paralyzed, it's essentially allowing you to transfer your body movement into the ship. So the spider, when it's not flying, like VTOL style. It can move along the ground with its legs, just like this cuttlefish is an Elithid fighter craft that's 20 feet in size, and it's got a bunch of creepy tentacles and a blaster, like an Eldritch cannon in the nose that shoots psychic damage at people. But its tentacles creep along the ground like a Cthulhu minion, right? So this manta ray is 35 feet by 40 feet. When you're flying the manta, you can use these mandibles as a grappling claw to grab onto things. It's got weapons on the deck, but like the wings of the manta ray like will move as you are flying the manta ray, because while you're on the helm of the ship, you are wild shaping into it. So the difference between mecha and fighter craft is that mecha are people shaped. So when you wild shape yourself as the pilot into the craft, you're moving it like a person, which means that if I'm a 20-foot mecha and I have a 20-foot sword, I can now swing that sword and do colossal damage with it. Gargantuan damage, excuse me. So that's the basic rules. So at these larger scales, we're operating at a 50-foot scale instead of a 5-foot scale. So your characters in any mecha, 10 feet or larger, sure, a 20-foot mecha could fit inside of a. But when you're fighting kaiju that are 120, like 100 feet, 150 feet in size, you're going to want to have like a 2x2 space at the 50-foot scale or a 3x3 space at the 50-foot scale for a 100 or 150-foot kaiju. So now your kaiju battle is just basically you fighting a large or huge-sized creature at the 5-foot scale, but everything's magnified up in larger scale. It's a very simple system. The Spelljammer book basically walks through all the mechanics of how that works. Going down here, like you can see, like the 5-foot scale, the 50-foot scale, the 500-foot scale. Here's an example of like ships starting at the 500-foot scale. Here's the temple of light, the Citadel of Light in Light of Zaraxis. Spoiler alert: it's 1 mile size asteroid. Each of these squares is 500 feet. So looking here at the 500-foot scale, hammerhead ships are 250 feet long. Star Maws are 200 feet long, but kind of like a pixie in a dungeon. When you're looking at a pixie in a 5-foot square, the image of that pixie, the icon of that pixie, is generally filling that 5-foot square. So in the same sort of idea, here's a bunch of Star Maws against a bunch of hammerhead ships. But if we zoom in to these 500-foot squares, we can see we can actually have multiple ships filling each 500-foot square. So here's like a squadron of Star Maws and accompanying warbirds, which are fighter craft. And then here we're showing one of these warbirds is leaving the 50-foot scale and closing distance onto the deck of this hammerhead ship. That if we then scroll over here, we see this is what it looks like when that warbird lands on the back of the hammerhead. This is its position on that ship. And here at the 5-foot scale, we can see it's dumping out Marines onto the deck of the ship to attack crew that are at these various siege weapons and mounted weapons, engaging in the battle against this squadron of ship with these hammerhead ships, which are just part of a larger fleet battle. And all these mechanics work the same as the 5-foot scale. 50-foot scale, 500-foot scale, it all uses normal 5e action economy. And because it does, again, when we transform these ships into people shapes, like, I don't know, like a Transformer 5e crossover perhaps, then we can have like, say, we have like a little Elithid cuttlefish fighter craft basically strutting up from the water back here from the nautiloid, basically beaching right now to go raid the world. But anyway, it's so that's basically how those mechanics work. So the mechanics of how ships work in general are all in here, and again, it's linked down below, and it's free for you guys to look at. If you want to buy it, you get like 120 assets, blah blah blah. But right now we're really focusing in on the mecha kaiju aspect of this. So let's bring that book to the front. So we have 20-foot mecha. The basic mecha, 20 foot, is 3 times damage and adds an extra 40 hit points. So with this, whoever's piloting the ship uses their hit points and combines them with the hit points of the ship. As long as the ship has at least 1 hit point, it can keep up and running. But so you could choose to take damage instead of the ship. If your mecha, our 20-foot mecha has 40 hit points, and our paladin that we're building a mecha for has 84 hit points, that character in their mecha has 124 hit points. So when I take a hit from, say, a ballista that does d4 times 10 damage, 20 damage on average, and I have, like, say, a heavy mecha frame. Let's go down here to mecha augments. For materials, if I'm using, like, it's a paladin, so let's give him heavy plate. So let's give him a heavy plate ship. Heavy resistance is going to be, for a fighter craft, it's going to be damage reduction of 10. So on average, when our paladin mecha gets hit by a ballista bolt, which does d4 times 10 damage, on average is going to be 2.5 or 25 damage. Because it's heavy material made out of metal or stone, it's going to reduce that damage by 10. So it's now 15 points of damage that the mecha has taken from that typical ballista bolt. And so I could either, like, I have 40 hit points in my mecha and 84 hit points on the paladin. The paladin could choose to take those 15 points of damage and the mecha remains untouched. He could allow the mecha to take 15, now down to 25, and he is untouched. Or I could do, like, 5 to the mecha, 10 to me. And then I could just use as a bonus action, lay on hands on myself as a pilot, and I heal those 10 hit points, and now the mecha has only taken 5. We have a wizard shipwright on our team. Shipwright is a Spelljammer subclass that we developed specifically, which is part of the bundle that goes along with the Spelljammer book, that basically heals hit points on ships in fighter craft and mecha. So you want to have your shipwright run up and basically slap you with like a level 2 mending spell and repair 48 hit points for 8-sided dice, 48 plus intelligence bonus hit points to your mecha, as though I were a cleric running up and dumping a 2nd level spell slot to do 4 8-sided dice plus my wisdom bonus to heal my character. So between the paladin, the ranger, the artificer, and the wizard, we have a ton of healing for both characters in the mecha and the mecha themselves on the exterior shell, basically scrapping with these giant kaiju that are doing lots of damage and lots of hit points. So core mechanics there, it's going to be 3 times damage. So I don't recall what kind of a weapon he uses. Hold on real quick. I'm going to disappear the screen so I don't dox anybody. But I'm going to go check where he provided the stats for his character. So hold on real quick. We're going to go to D&D Beyond. He gave me a link. We'll pop that open so we can see what he carries. All right, we're back. That's right, 5 Paladin, 2 Warlock. Great build, 84 hit points. Let's see, what kind of weapons are you? Got it. Maul, 2-handed Maul, Eldritch Blast, Unarmed Strike, Heavy Crossbow. Okay, so the Maul's going to automatically transfer over, and the Maul does 2d6 plus 4. It's going to be, because of the size of the mecha, it's going to be, where'd you go? There. It's going to be 3 times, so that Maul is going to do 6d6 damage. So character mecha mods, we're going to go to Guarded Bard. He's playing a Warforged, that's right. Warforged Artificer. No, Warforged Paladin. Warlock. Has 2-hand maul. Heavy crossbow. Eldritch Blast. That's going to come in handy. What else you got? You got the Smite. Martial Strike. And what else you got? What you got? We have Find Mecha instead of Fight Steed. That was a fun modification he was asking for. I love that. I would say for the large part, the only thing that's really important is the Martial Strike, Eldritch Blast, Heavy Crossbow, 2-hand maul. Cool. So let's go with class mecha features. Aura of Protection. Amplified. Blind Sense. Devil's Sight. No, he doesn't have Aura of Protection. He's only level 5. And then Divine Smite. And Channel Divinity. Anything else? Lay on hands doesn't really matter. With Devotion. Sacred Weapon. Okay. And then Sacred Weapon +4 attacks, 10 minutes. And each time you can cause it to deal its normal damage type or radiant. The weapon also emits a bright light, 20-foot radius. You can end this effect early. That would affect his mecha, and it's going to amplify. So it's going to be 20 foot. That is 4 squares. 4 squares. Illumination. And damage doesn't ramp when you upscale it. So it's still going to do D8 per mana expended. Yeah, there you go. And then Eldritch Blast, its damage isn't going to amplify, but if we give him an amplifier, it will. So how did we do this for him? We're going to go with class features. Hold on. That's what I was looking for. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Good. Okay, heavy frame equals AC 18 plus 5 strength. STR and con checks. 0 dex mod. Damage reduction is 10. All damage. Immune to psychic and poison damage. Move 5 squares. Dash plus 5 squares. Up to 50-foot scale. 500. That's 1,000 miles per day over land. I just know these things by heart, so that's why I'm just cracking them out. And let's see, what else we're going to do? We're going to do mods. So damage. Mecha. Core statistics. Hover. Jump jets. 1 round. Gain 1 level exhaustion per round of flight. Expend bonus action, reaction, or magic action to reduce exhaustion by 1. Reduce/neutralize. Can also expend 1 mana. There. Okay, so hover jumps, jets. So the mecha can run on the ground. They have limited flight capabilities. Once they launch themselves out of gravity, that motion is basically perpetual. But while they're inside of a gravity field, they have to continuously use jump jets to be able to gain their move speed and flight. And they have the ability to hover, but every round that they use it, they accumulate 1 degree of exhaustion at the end of each turn. If you sacrifice a reaction, bonus action, or an attack, sorry, it's an attack, not the magic action, or no, yeah, it is a magic action. So you can't take a full attack if you're going to use a magic action, but every piece of action economy that you sacrifice during your round is basically coolant. So it cools the exhaustion by 1 degree. So you could technically just accumulate, if you get all 6 degrees of exhaustion, your mecha basically burns out, and it needs 6 rounds for it to be able to recover. So you don't want to push it too much. So you can push it if you don't mind the stacking penalties to the exhaustion roll and the reduced squares of movement that you get. But if you don't have any exhaustion at all, you're going to burn, like, say you burn your reaction, or burn your burn your bonus action. Or if you sacrifice an attack act, like if a paladin has 2 attacks. If I sacrifice one of my attacks, I can generate 1 point of mana that I can then use to cool my engine. I'll still have an attack, bonus action, and reaction available, as well as movement. So jump jets, there you go. Let's look at our mods. Oh yeah, damage. Damage, 2-hand maul equals 6d6 plus 5 is going to be, it automatically has a +5 bonus. So 66 plus 5, bludgeon damage. And then let's start looking at some mods. This document isn't linked down below because I forgot I was going to be doing mecha when I started the stream. But if you check any of my Spelljammer mecha streams, you should be able to find this document. And it's available in my Discord to anyone that wants to join. You can just click on the link down below and tag in if you want to. Let's see, where are we inside this? Cheers. Okay, what's next? Hold on. Let's see. What else? Mods. Right, so let's go back to our document. Is this it? Yes. Damage reduction, cargo towing limits, power systems. Okay, so we're using... we have uncommon power limit. We have uncommon, so that means we have up to 3 mods in our ship without paying for extra ones. We get 3 for free, and we can have any mecha mods up to 2nd rank. So let's go with mods times 3. First up to 2nd rank. let's see, the helm that we're using is a minor helm, which is the 500, which is the 1,000 miles per day. A minor helm is an uncommon magic item, but it can only move ships up to 50 feet in size. Hence the scaling limitations on the mecha. Let's see. So we have our helms. Let's see. We could reinforce it. No, we don't need to because we're already heavy material. So heavy armor plating, increased damage reduction. I can take this twice to add +2 to my armor class and +5 to my damage reductions for each mod, but I only get 3. No need for integrated tools. Doesn't have a sealed helm right now. I don't think we need self-repair. We have plenty of support. Spell amplifier allows spell power, ability, and effects to be amplified to the 50-foot scale with no amplifying cost. Did we... One second. That's right. I gave them the, hold on, mod. We get the spell amplifier for free. Minor helm, hover jumps. Let's go with spell amplifier. Equals ranges increased to 50-foot scale. And then we're definitely going to want an Eldritch Cannon. And that's going to be for the Eldritch Blast that he has. And the way that Eldritch Cannon works is, actually let's peel open our, where's our table of content? Oh, this is a reduced version, it's not here. That's fine, let's go to our table of content. And we'll go to ship, let's go to ranged ship weapons. Here you go. Eldritch Cannon for the kids. Commonly equipped on aboard Tyrant ships. Occupies a 5x5 space, 250 pounds. It's a mounted weapon, so it's part of the ship. So its armor class and hit points are basically those of the ship as well. 500 gold to get one. Only requires one crew, which is you. But it does require a spellcaster to operate. It can be used as an orrery station and can be used as a spell amplifier, as detailed below, for spell amplification for ramping spells through the Eldritch Cannon. In the Gravity Void, it's got a 500-foot range. And damage type is force. So mounted weapons, the amount of damage dealt as a mounted weapon is determined by the casting level of the character or the rank of the crewmate with the magical abilities as listed on the table below. So 5th level, we're 7th level right now. So currently he's 2nd rank. That means he's doing 2d8 damage. Eldritch Cannon equals 2d8 equals 500-foot range. 2d8 force damage per attack. And he has 2nd level spell slots, or can expend up to 2 mana at 2nd levels. So 1 or 2, that's going to be d4 times 10. 1 mana equals single shot 1d4 times 10 force damage. So basically as a force ballista. Magic or bonus action to use. So that's the Eldritch Cannon. That's one of our mods. I think the animated shield is actually active in this. So let's go to our document. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Hungry? So far, so good. We're building a mecha for one of our playtesters. So I'm trying to find defense barrier as a react. No, that's just a single action strikes. Drop down through the strikes. Power shield, there it is. It's a first rank sustained power. Power shield. As an object interaction, you create a defensive field of power that can be wielded as a shield that you are proficient with. The shield hovers in your space to protect you, leaving your hands free, and remains present until dismissed. The bonus to your armor class gained from the shield is +3. So, power shield. Equals +3 AC, no hands. (18) +3 shield, 18. Power shield. Spelling. Power shield. Below. Mod below. +3 AC. AC 21. HP 40. Move 5 squares. Times 50-foot scale. Get the +5 strength bonus. There you go. I'm going to just go ahead and separate that. So we have the Eldritch Cannon, so that because he's a Paladin Warlock combo, so he wants the Eldritch Cannon so he can channel Eldritch Strike through his cannon, and it'll just do 2d8 force damage per attack, but it'll have a 500-foot range. He can spend 1 mana to deal d4 times 10 force damage as a siege attack instead if he wants. Hey, what's up? Sweet. I know in Neon Odyssey, one of the goals they reached on their Kickstarter was combining mechas, and that stuff always interested me. Yeah, nice. Well, this may or may not publish before Neon Odyssey, but when it does, it'll be 100% free preview on DMsGuild, so you can support me. It'll probably be, and this book will probably be like $6. So you can either do that, or and then the Spelljammer book that I already published is already linked down below, and that's 105 pages of Spelljammer goodness, and it is incredibly effective. Very, very good system. If I do say so myself, it just uses normal character action economy. The action, the bonus action, reaction, movement, and just depends on what role you're playing will determine what those actions can be used as. So you can mix and match. Like as a character on the deck of my ship, I could use my attack actions to like kill an Umber Hulk that's on deck. I could then use as a bonus action, I could issue a command to a siege crew to fire a siege weapon, and then I could walk over, get on, I could use my normal movement to walk to the helm, sit down on the helm, use my reaction to become focused on the helm, and then use my object interaction to move the ship as well. I can do all of those, I can do those different roles using all my action economy during any given round of combat. So I can mix and match my action economy between what my ship is doing, what I'm doing, and how I'm helping the rest of my crew do their stuff. So you can pool action economy together to have people like as a team work on siege weapons, or each character can oversee their own fighter craft or be part of a larger carrier ship with gun turrets and working those. It's actually a really flexible system. It is a long way away since it's fully releasing potentially by the end of next year. I'm only hyped for it at the moment because the playtest is coming soon. Right on. Yeah, I've watched some of it. Forgive me for throwing shade at one of the biggest Kickstarters ever, but I used facing in Hex Combat in 2nd edition, and it sucked. We were constantly trying to figure out how can we reduce the turn radius on our ships, because having to spend 3 rounds to reorient yourself to come back around again just made like Spelljammer ship combat in 2nd edition using that facing hex directional system. It took like 10 rounds when it should have taken 3. If you want to complain about how long 5e takes, go ahead and add directional movement with hexes. That's just going to double the amount of time because you're going to waste so much time waiting to come back around again. So hopefully in their playtesting they drop that mechanic, because in D&D 5e as written, you have hover. So you can rotate in place and just move in any direction, just as though you were in a dungeon at the 5-foot scale, like if you were a pixie with hover. You can move any direction you want at any time. You don't have to worry about orientation and direction and facing. All those things. I mean, maybe it's more realistic, but we don't need more realism in our spaceship combat. So I'm going to go ahead and just poop on that, because not because I'm begrudged that they made $60 million or whatever, and I've made like 4,000 on this book. I'm going to poop on it because I learned those lessons a long time ago, and I don't know why they're not telling somebody direct, like orientation and facing is going to double the amount of time you spend in combat, because you just can't get your ship to go where you need to go if you can only move, like if you can only rotate one facing per square of movement. Like if you get like say 5 squares of movement and you want to turn around in your hex, that's going to spend all of your action economy. Now I have to dash to leave that square in the new direction. It's too demanding. And having facing on weapons, it slows everything down. Everyone complains about how long 5e combat takes, more than ever. Facing only doubles it. So anyway, that's my wisdom. Don't use facing. Use a more hover-based liquid system that allows you to ignore facing and direction. So it's the way that 5e is built, and you can this book is proving you can effectively scale up those same 5e mechanics to the 50 and the 500 foot scale. So forgive me for throwing shade at people that are far more successful in business than I am. But I've spent 40 years learning how to make Spelljammer run smoothly, and the 5e game engine is by far the best system that I have yet to encounter for making this stuff work. And hopefully this book that I have that's linked down below, it's my love letter basically to Spelljammer combat. So be welcome to explore it. When Odyssey comes out, if you want to play Neon Odyssey, you can. This Mecha book will probably publish before that as well. So Mecha and all the fightercraft mechanics that already exist in this book, they all work. And this Mecha document, it's not linked down below, but it's linked in almost all of my Spelljammer, all my Spelljammer Mecha streams that I have on my live stream channel. So anyway, I digress. So sorry, I'm sounding like a bitter old man, but really it's just love. It's love for the art. So I've mainly been looking at the classes and races as the main part of the interest me. Right on. I'm not going to crap on that at all. I'm sure they do cool stuff. I'm sure there's something cool about it. So otherwise, it just feels like it's sci-fi. It's a sci-fi version of 5e. I know that people want that Starfinder 5e effect. If Neon's scratching that itch, I can only bless them. I'm just saying that what I've seen of their videos, combat could be smoother. So hopefully they'll use that money to get some good advice from people that know the lessons of second edition to help make that book as good as it can be. Because it's not really, I'm not really competing against it. I'm nobody. Like, I'm not competing against shit. I'm competing against my own dreams. So I'm just saying this as a fan. They would do well to do that. Anyway, I digress. We're looking for another mod. So let's go in here, and what would our good maul carrying floaty shield, what would be something cool? He already has blind sense himself built into his character, and the amplifier allows him to use that naturally on its own. Rogue stance isn't a bad idea. Use a bonus action to dash, dodge, disengage. That's super useful. I'm sorry, that's supposed to be dash, disengage, or hide is what it's actually supposed to be. We updated that in our playtesting. I just forgot to update it in this document. Hide. It's still good, though. Dash and disengage as a bonus action is awfully tasty. I don't think he's want to grapple. Unnatural resistance. Celerity is too high of a rank. We can't access that. We could have an unnatural resistance or an elemental resistance, but that's really conditional. He can mod that in himself at some point if you guys know a specific type of... Like if they decide to go into the Rizia Manifest Zone where it's cold, they could pick up elemental resistance and name cold specifically to keep their ship from being damaged by the biting cold of the Eberron manifest zone in orbit. But let's see if there's something particularly tasty. When you hit a creature with an attack as a bonus action, the target glows with faint light, regaining the benefits of illusion, invasion, blah blah blah. Thundering strike, shocking strike, disarming strike. No, let's skip the strikes. Let's go to something that's a little bit more utility, perhaps. Downtrodden. As a reaction to when the target you can see within range of your melee weapon attack becomes prone or scuttled, you can make an opportunity attack against it. That's actually, well, he has downtrodden already built into his paladin, which he can still use. So I don't really need to engage with that. Deflection. As a reaction to when a target you can see that is within reach of your melee attack hits with an attack roll, the attack is re-rolled. Taking the new result, this reroll cannot score a critical hit. That's pretty useful as a reaction use. I'm going to put that one on deck. You gain resistance to BPS. Oh, ward is, let's put a ward on him. Ward equals resistance to BPS. That'll make him tanky. Most attacks that are going to be hitting the mecha is going to be BPS from the kaiju that they're fighting. So ward is just a really good general effect. Like again, if you're being hit by a 100-foot kaiju, that's down here. Like for example, the team fought a 100-foot rust monster, a rust kaiju that was burrowing into an electrum mine on an asteroid that they had province over. So they had to get rid of the rust monster before its 100-foot tentacles was able to basically turn all the exposed ore into rust to consume by basically snorting up the tunnel. So a 100-foot kaiju is going to have 200 extra hit points. So let's go look quickly at let's see, D&D Beyond, rust monster. This is how you build a kaiju. Super simple. Very, very easy. Rust Monster Kaiju normally has 33 hit points, but when it's 100 feet in size, we add 200 hit points. So the kaiju has 233 hit points. Normally, when it deals damage, it has a bite attack. And the bite attack does D8 plus 1 piercing damage normally. But when we supersize it to 100 feet, it's going to do 6 dice. So it's going to do 6 D8 damage with its bite. And the bite is we're also going to 6 times the damage. So it's going to be D8 plus 6. It's going to be 6 D8 plus 6 damage. And again, our mecha only have 40 hit points. Like this paladin has 124 hit points. Between himself and the mecha shell that he has, it's 124 hit points total. When this thing hits him, it's going to do on average 24, 33 damage on a hit. With BPS, he can reduce that down to 16 damage. And then he has resistance from the heavy plating, which also reduces it by 10. So on average, against his mecha, that kaiju attack is only going to do about 10 damage. And he can take a lot of those hits before he's destroyed. But the antenna, if he gets, since he's in a heavy mecha, he's going to get a -1 to his armor class, and destroyed if the penalty reduces his armor class below 10. So it's 18. He can take 9 hits from the antenna, and his mecha is destroyed. Or it's reduced down to 0 hit points, whichever one's first. And then you have to spend time repairing it to rebuild it. So, but super easy. The armor class doesn't change. The speed is going to be 8 squares instead of 40 feet. 40 divided by 5 equals 8 squares at the 50-foot scale. Antenna, its reach, within 50 feet of it, so it burrows and it's doing damage, destroy metal, turns things into dust, reflexive antenna. It can use its antenna attack as a reaction to being attacked by a BPS weapon that's physical. Maybe it'll turn it to rust, maybe it won't. And that's the end of it. I mean, like, that's all I needed to do. Like, the stats don't change. Those stay the same. It's just that if he's 50 feet versus 5 feet, you're going to add basically 10 to the DC. Like, if I'm a 5-foot character, I'm trying to fight something at the 50-foot scale, it's going to add plus 10 to its DC. And against my 5-foot character, it's going to get advantage, and it's going to add plus 10 blanket bonus, like, to its strength check. So, like, it only gets a plus 1 normal, and versus another mecha that's larger than 50 feet in size, because it's 100 feet. Larger than 50 feet in size is only going to be a plus 1 bonus, but against our mecha, which are only 20 feet, is going to be a plus 11 on top of the D20. And if it's against 5-foot characters, it's going to be plus 20 against your character at the 5-foot scale. You're going to lose the contest unless there's a miraculous circumstance. Like, on average, this rust monster is going to be rolling a 34 against your character, like rolling on average like a 16. Like, you're going to lose that fight. There you go. If it tries to stomp on you as like an area of effect, it's going to be a dexterity saving throw. Is going to be DC for this guy is 11. Dexterity saving throw, DC 11. But at the 50-foot scale, like for the rust monster to stomp on a 20-foot mecha, the DC is 21. To avoid being stomped on at the 5-foot scale, the DC is 31. It's almost impossible for a 100-foot creature that wants to step on you for you to avoid that damage. You're going to get hit. But it's still just going to be, and the damage is going to be 6d4 plus 6 on average. 6d8 plus 6. On average, that's going to be like around 30-ish hit points that your 5-foot scale character is going to take for trying to take on a 100-foot rust monster. Like, that's, and there, now you're done. If you get anyone that wants to see a more extensive video about this on YouTube, you can click into my channel here, and you can go to my videos, and you can go to Spelljammer, Mega Kaiju. This was a video that I created for a 1,500-foot kaiju attacking the city of Brawl. And I used those same mechanics using this book here, the book that I have linked down below, the Spelljammer book, of a 1,500-foot kaiju attacking the Rock of Brawl, what the damage scaling would look like, what a round-to-round combat would look like, how do you find weak spots on a kaiju that you can build into them at the 5-foot scale, so if your character can get onto the kaiju and traverse to the weak spot, you can start attacking it at this really small scale, like crawl into their windpipe and choke them or whatever. But that book's there, but yeah, this video is there for people to check out if you're interested. And it's 9 o'clock here in Seattle. This is typically my ending point, and we've built out we've built out our new Paladin's mecha. 21 armor class with a floating shield, Eldritch Cannon to be able to use his Warlock Eldritch Blast. He has the ward effect that gives his resistance to BPS, 40 hit points, 21 AC, moves 5 squares at the 50-foot scale, which is basically 1,000 miles per day. He's got the +5 automatic bonus to strength and constitution, but he gets 0 dexterity modifiers from his tankiness, and 10 damage reduction, immune to psychic and poison damage, and it's a minor helm, and he has jump jets. So that's it. And then Guarded Bard, when I hang out with you on Saturday, I'll just walk you through the mecha mechanics, and maybe we'll spend some time tomorrow morning drawing his mecha, but we're working on the book cover for Martial Powers. Maybe on Saturday we'll draw his mecha to make that available. So I stream Monday through Fridays in the morning doing art for books that I publish, and then on Mondays and Thursday nights we do get design stuff, and on Saturday I do whatever, game prep or art or game design or whatever. So we'll make his mecha for the campaign on Saturday, and then we'll probably spend the rest of the time on Saturday continuing with building our martial powers, the magic items that we started this session with. So Thursday night when we come back, we're going to do more magic items. Saturday morning, we're going to do magic items. We're going to go through all the weapons, armor, implements, and armaments in the player's handbook and see how accurately we can translate them using our martial power crafting point system for magic items. So far, it's been pretty good with minor hiccups here and there, but I actually feel pretty confident about the system. I think it's going to turn out well. So that's it. I'm going back tomorrow morning. We're going to do more artwork. And then I'll be back Thursday night. I'm here Monday through Friday in the morning, so check me out daily if you want. And then, again, Thursday night, we're going to come back, and we're going to do more Magic the Gathering style magic items using the crafting system. So that's it, guys. I'm going to bounce on out of here. I really appreciate everyone that's been swinging by and checking out the channel. I really appreciate people being interested in this stuff. So thanks a lot. I will catch you guys in the morning.